Okay.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! It's, of course, Halloween. This is We Need to Talk About Ghosts, and you are listening to the We Need to Talk About Ghosts Halloween special. You may very well hear the car and the sat-nav as well saying where to go. I'm, of course, with Bekah, who's driving.
Hello.
Hello.
And happy Halloween.
And happy Halloween.
All Hallows Eve. Is everyone excited?
I'm excited because it means I get a pizza later. The best pizza in the world.
Pizza later.
But as I've banged on enough times about the Dark Paranormal Halloween special, and I've neglected the Wintag Halloween special because we didn't have one for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then a little angel by the name of Bekah stepped up to the plate and said, "Hey, I know somewhere we can go and do a Halloween special.
Let me sort this."
Let me sort this, she said.
So obviously once I got involved in about 2 hours, we had an appointment.
Yes.
Sorted, we were ready, we were booked.
So
everything was arranged.
we are off to, well, Bekah, what we found out earlier during our conversation was, it used to be a mortuary.
Yeah. So we're going to Kensington Community Learning Centre, which is a community learning centre in Kensington, Liverpool. There's 2 centre managers there, a woman called Emma and a woman called... Where's everyone's name just gone out my head?
Don't know.
Sorry, I'm trying to
Concentrate on getting onto the junction as well. I mean, keep us alive if you can.
Okay, Mark. Sorry, Emma and Debbie. Right, so Emma and Debbie run this centre, and we're speaking to Debbie. So Emma is not a believer, but Debbie is, and Debbie is convinced that there are ghosts there. It's just fact as far as she's concerned. So we're going to meet them. So it's this the learning centre itself is really nice. They do like very worthwhile things. They do English lessons, like adult lessons for like literacy, numeracy, computer skills, this kind of thing. If you're looking for a job, if you need help with forms, that kind of thing, this is what they're doing here. So it's really valuable. And both of these women who run this centre are just brilliant. Like this, they know exactly what they're doing. They're dead calm. You know when people have just got things under control, like they're just really, really brilliant.
Like exude a calmness and confidence. Sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, because everything's just in hand. It's fine. Nothing phases them. Like they're brilliant. So we're going to speak to Debbie.
Yeah.
And she'll tell us more about the centre when we get there, and then she'll also tell us about the ghosts that live there.
And then she's going to leave us alone for a bit in one of the rooms, isn't she?
Yes.
So we can discuss in more detail.
Yeah, we'll just have a chat while we're there and see what we, discuss her stories.
So the building itself, does it look old from what you know?
Yeah, well, it's in a long row. I'm sure this would be the place in most places, but like it's on a main road, and it's you've got a long row of like many shops.
Yeah.
And things. It's one of those. And it's quite big. It's like a double. It's one of those. Where it's
like a double unit.
2 numbers of the address. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you say you could see like the old ghost writing of what it used to be?
Yeah. Well, we'll go through that when we're there.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because we'll So Debbie will tell us more about what we're doing, but I just wanted to intro the place.
Good intro.
Say who were there, because so the reason this came about is that I actually arranged an event through work there at the centre.
Yeah.
So I was chatting to both of them, and somehow ghosts came up. I think they mentioned it. I think Emma mentioned it. She said, "Oh, like Debbie's always talking about the ghosts," and I said, "Really?" She said, "My partner actually runs a paranormal podcast." So I spoke to Debbie, and Debbie was like really keen on it. She was telling me all about it, and I obviously said that you would be interested, and would she be interested and open to us going down sometime? And she was, because she's lovely.
Well, there you go.
So that's how it happened. So very fortuitous.
Very fortuitous.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this. An on-site sort of thing. Any idea, rough estimation, how old it is, the building? If you had to guess. I know we'll find out for definite when we ask. But if you had to have a stab in the dark.
No, I'm rubbish with stuff like that, but no idea.
Okay.
It'll be up like a while though, because it's certainly not a new build.
Okay. So the next time that you hear us then, we'll be sat down with Debbie, is it?
Yeah, Debbie.
With Debbie, and discussing all about this former mortuary and the ghosts that Debbie believes reside within. Okay, so we're here with Debbie at the Kensington... I've just already got it wrong. Kensington Community Learning Centre. And like Bekah mentioned in the intro on the way down in the car, you met Debbie through an event you held here, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you just got talking about ghosts.
Yes, as one does.
As you do. And Debbie just gives us a little walking tour of the building. We're now currently sat in the attic, and the building is proper, like, freaky's the wrong word, because that implies that, like, it's like...
lovely, our building.
It is lovely,
Yeah,
it's very homely.
Lovely. Yeah, it is.
But you have just pointed out the sign that is painted over that says Mortuary Chapel.
Yeah.
And shown us what we think is stables where they used to bring the bodies in.
Yeah.
And now we're in the attic of the building.
Yeah.
So take it away, Debbie. Tell us what you know.
So I've been here for about 18 years, and it's 19 years next year, and it was August, July, 18 years ago, whenever it was, and I was walking down the main corridor, and as I looked into the big training room, which was the old stables,
Yeah.
I could see into the other room, which we think was the, I don't know what it was, maybe more stables in the far room, and there was someone sitting on the chair, like wheeling back and forth in front of the door in a brown habit,
Like
a monk. That's what it looked like, a monk.
Wheeling on like an office chair?
Yeah, we had blue chairs at the time, and he was sat on the chair and he was wheeling across the door. And I went back and looked again, and it wasn't there, because as you go walk down the corridor, you've got two doors, and I always instinctively look through the window of both doors as I'm going past, just to make sure everything's all right. No one was in the building. The building was literally, it was just the staff. There was no classes going on, and he was wheeling himself. 6 weeks later, my dad died.
Yeah.
So that's how I remember that one.
Right. Yeah.
Then,
Yeah. That's all right.
Weird.
It's okay.
That always brings back memories.
I bet you it does. Yeah.
Nothing to do with my dad, I don't think, but it was just, I know it was definitely 6 weeks before.
It's funny how those things attach to memories like that, isn't it?
Then we had a lady who used to come in, and some of the one. I'm so sentimental, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's a good feature.
So she used to come in and do classes with us. And I was standing talking to her one day. She was sat on the chair in the big training room, which we think was the stables. And she kept looking over my shoulder. And I said, after a couple of minutes, I said, what's the matter? Is there someone over there? And she said, yeah. She said, Margaret's there. She said, you're all right, Deb. She'll always look after you.
And who's Margaret?
Well, it was Peggy. So Peggy short for Margaret, is it? I used to do her hair for years. Because I used to be a hairdresser many moons ago. And I used to do her hair. And she left me a little gold ring with the blue stone in. And I had the ring on, and she gave me a little table. Her husband did when she died. But she always said, this ring is yours. She had no family, no one else. I was the only one that... And a couple of her neighbours were really good. So Bill gave me the ring when Peggy died. And she kept saying, she'll always look after you, you know. She'll always be here for you.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what the relevance was with Peggy and here, because as far as I know, Peggy was born in Walton and not Kensington, but I don't know. And then a few times, I've seen her quite a few times now, we've got like an Edwardian lady that roams around downstairs.
Yeah.
Now, mostly in room 1 on the corridor. She's very, very tall, and she wears a black gown with a little white bonnet with another little black hat, I think, on top.
You know what?
That's why I'm assuming why it's Edwardian.
That's one of my most genuine. When I think of something terrifying, that's what if somebody says draw your most terrifying thing that you could see, it's that. Draw, yeah. But it's basically like someone in a black gown with like those old nuns' white like habit things that go out like that and a black thing, but that sort of image. Yeah,
but this was like one of the little. Like a little cap with elastic around it with the frill on, and then another hat on it. Yeah. So that's why I'm assuming it's Edwardian rather than anything else. I may be wrong on there.
And she was seen downstairs.
She roams around downstairs, yeah. So I've seen her in training room 1 as I've walked past the door again. And I've walked past, I've seen someone in there, went back to look, because I'm thinking no one should be in there at this point, and she wasn't there. And then only a couple of years ago, one of our vols came in, and he went into room 2, through the stable 1 and into the other room, and then someone followed behind him in a long black coat,
Right.
So I'd seen this from the top door, so went in through the training room door, and I said to Mark, who's just come in with you? And he said, no one. I said, no, someone's just followed you. So he said, no, I've never been on my own. I said, well, someone's just followed you. And he went, stop it, you're giving me
I was going to say, did he freak at that?
Yeah,
Someone
he
following
did freak
around?
a little bit, yeah. But he still goes in that room, so it obviously hasn't freaked him out as much as what I thought. But anyway, yeah, so she's seen it a few times, and then earlier on this year we had a psychic night. So we had some psychics that live locally, and she came in and done a free event for us, and we raised some money for the centre.
Oh, wow.
So while she did readings, but not one-to-one, we had groups. And then if anyone came through, she'd say things, and that person would recognise who they were. And she was talking to one of the girls, and then she went like that and stuck back as if something had rushed past her. And she said, your monk's just run past me, Deb.
The monk?
Yeah.
Really?
And then Rianne felt it, my daughter felt it as well.
Yeah.
And she said, I felt that as well. Like a cold whoosh went past the both of them. So from one side of the room, right across to the other side of the room.
And monk's an interesting one as well, isn't it? Because I suppose with it being a mortuary at one stage in its life,
and a chapel,
you'd need to be a religious figure, wouldn't
definitely. Yeah. And on that night as well, my friend's a little bit psychic, so she believes in angels. She does all angels and things. And she was here with her daughters, and she was just sat in front of me. And every now and again she'd turn round, and I was sat by the door going into the training room. And she'd turn round, and I'd just smile, and then she'd turn round again. And she said, all the way through that. I said to her, what were you turning round for? She said, all the way through that. Your lady was stood behind, watching you. She said, she'll always have your back. She'll always watch you.
And is this Peggy?
No, this is the Edwardian lady.
Really?
Yeah. Because Peggy would have been maybe about 110 by now.
Right.
Because she was really old, and it's 30 years since I've done her hair. So
you don't know the Edwardian lady, but it sounds like she
just roams around, yeah. I think it's just she's been here, or maybe... See, this room is quite... we call this our mezzanine, and in the summer we have the windows open and it's gorgeous, and in the winter it's freezing, but we've got radiators now, so we'll put the heating on, and it's... but the people from the psychics... because I gave a little bit of history about the centre, they said at the end, can we have a little walk around? I said, of course you can, yeah. So we went into the back rooms, and this woman said she could feel something, but she wasn't sure what it is. And they all had little things they could feel. And then when they came in here, one of the women she came in and she went, oh, like that. And she stood here, and then she went, every time she went into another room, she'd do this.
Right.
Because there was something there, and I said, there's no step there. She said, but there is. She said, I can see a step. So there was something there on all three. She went into all three rooms, and on all three she stepped over like she was stepping through into somewhere.
Well, it's interesting because although it's now like slightly modernised, isn't it? So you've got the archways in. Yeah. You can see where the brick kind of comes out for the three different, what would have been three different rooms.
It would have been, yeah. But I don't know how you'd access them unless there was another way. I don't know. Because obviously there's been little extensions and the roofs have been changed. So when we were talking, the actual Tracy, the actual psychic who did everything for us, she said she could feel someone in authority down the other end, as though like a headmaster. And this is where, when the kids were naughty, they would come and get the cane. She said, I can just feel authority in there. She said, I don't like it. She said, I really don't like it.
Do you know what? Right, like I'm not just saying this. Like we touched on before, I sometimes... I was going to say pretend to be a psychic, but what I mean is I sometimes get like a strong feeling of like sort of thing. And one thing that I will say genuinely is that when we went into that far room, the very far one where you said, I can't remember what you said, what it was, but we discussed the fact there's another room behind and all that carry on. There is genuinely an image in my head, as soon as we went in, and I've still got it now, of someone sitting behind a desk looking down these three rooms.
That's exactly what she said. He's there behind the desk, and when the kids are naughty, they'll come in, and this is where they get the cane or get some kind of punishment.
Wow.
So this was the sort of the main room. So this could have been a school at one point.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I really don't know.
Do we know roughly how old the building is? Have you got any guesses?
Nothing.
Because Kev said this to me on the way down. He said, do you know how old the building is? And I said, no. And he said, if you had to guess. I said, I'm rubbish. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
I couldn't even take a stab in the dark.
I think it's a couple of 100 years old, but it's had loads of modernisation.
Yeah.
Not recently,
Like
but
things added on and
years,
stuff,
things added on, Definitely, there's more rooms being added on. I think at the very back of the building, there's an entry that leads, it's our entry, and it's the business over the other side and the pub, and it's all cobblestones.
Right.
So that could have been a road at one point.
I see.
And the outside of this part of the building there, that's really old as well.
Have you looked on any like old ordnance survey maps or anything?
I haven't, but one of our volunteers, I asked him to see if he could find out any history, and he couldn't find anything. I didn't think of ordnance survey maps. So
I'll have a look, because funny enough, where we've just moved to, I wanted to have a look at what that was built on, and it's relatively new, isn't it? Like as a place.
Yeah, the house and estate was like the 80s, in the 80s?
70s and 80s, wasn't it? In like just on the outside of town. And only through ordnance survey maps did it turn out that it's built on the site of 3 orphanages and a church. But when I seen it, pardon the French, but I shat myself, because I was like, well, that explains a lot of things that have been going on. But
can you feel things going on from there?
The funny thing is, in the flat we used to live in, I could all the time.
Yeah, was that an old flat?
No, but it was built on like a paraffin works off Duke Street, just opposite the old St Michael's, I think, church. That's now been knocked down.
Up. What's the going to get in the lift? Like,
so Becca's a skeptic.
But they can go through walls and everything. I know the Edwardian lady downstairs, I know the door was open because but when you open that door, it closes straight away. But she still followed him in that room. She was definitely there in that room with him. And she's around. When you walk into here, it's a lovely feeling. The whole building is a lovely feeling. I'm never ever scared on my own, never. And I was here till 7:30 last night. Sometimes we're here till 9 o'clock. It just depends. We're in very early in the morning. Another story. Suzanne, who used to work with us, she was on reception one night, and she kept hearing rustling. Now all the classes were going on, so no one was in reception. But she stood up just in case she'd missed somebody. No one was there. And then again, she'd carry on what she was typing. And she heard the rustling again, so she got up and then she walked around the reception to make sure, just to put her own mind at ease, and no, nothing was there. And then Suzanne was brought up around Kensington. Her granddad had a butcher's further along, and it went through the family, so it was a great-granddad, a granddad and a dad. It's not there anymore, it hasn't been there for quite a few years, and that was just further along Kensington, opposite Holt Road, I think it was. So she went back to the desk and carried on typing, and she typed her granddad's name. So she thought, she thinks it was her granddad. Yeah.
Oh, so she just like absent-mindedly typed his name? Really?
Yeah. There's more to the story, but I can't, and I was trying to find a piece of paper because she sent it me, and I read it out as our psychic night.
Oh, did you? Or like the full story?
The full story, yeah. But she's seeing people here as well.
Have you ever? Because I've noticed there's cameras dotted around as well for security. Have you ever picked anything up on those sorts of things?
Nothing, but they do go off quite often.
Do they just turn themselves off?
Yeah. So the alarm goes off as well quite often without any. So we get called out. Then you've got to come out to check because but the police come out as well. Yeah. Sometimes it's the people over on the other side of the building who set it off, but there's been times when nothing's been here and we've come in and it's been going off. So
have you ever had like where you've turned some like things moving or anything like that? Things
go missing.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a roll. I'm looking for a roll of black tape at the minute.
Yeah.
And it was in my office. My office most probably wasn't an add-on. It's most probably the original. And just disappeared from sight because the arms of the chairs downstairs, we have kids in now, and I think one of them's pulled the arm and the arm's come off. And I normally, it happens quite often, I normally just tape it back on with black tape. It's not obvious then, is it? And can't for the life of me find the black tape.
Really? So little random things?
That's it, little random things go missing. Same in my house, the house I live in.
Yeah.
It was my mum and dad's. and they're over 100 years old. So when they died, our cousin lived in it for quite a long time, and then I bought it from my two brothers. And when she lived there, when Kelly lived there, she put her purse on the worktop, on the counter, and she come down next day, no purse, looked everywhere, couldn't find it. 2 days later, she was in the drawer where the tea towels were, and the purse was under a tea towels. My mum used to put her purse there every single night.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Have to hide it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another night, her daughter, she was only about 10 at the time, and she was tidying up her bedroom, and she was putting all her she had pencils or felts, and she was putting them all in order on the floor. And Kelly said to her, come on, you need to get to bed now, it's too late. So she'd know, I need to tidy this up. You know what I'm like. So she'd know, in bed, do it in the morning. So she'd, okay. So she got into bed. She had a little chat with her mum, as she normally does. The next morning, all the felt tips were in colour order, like a rainbow. Now, my mum was very particular, and everything had its place. When my grandson was born 4 years ago, he had a habit of, so as you look out of my living room door, there's a wall, and I've got a big heart mirror on that wall. Everything's changed, by the way. I've knocked walls down and everything, so everything's completely different than when Mum and Dad lived there. And every now and again, Benjamin would turn his head and he'd look out into the hall. Now, I don't know whether it was my dad, my mum. My dad died in the house. He actually died where my sofa is in the living room, of a heart attack. My mum didn't die in the house. She was in hospital. But I know he's definitely sensed something when he was little. So my new grandson is always asleep when he comes at the minute, but he's coming next Friday to meet all his aunties and cousins. So I'm going to sit on the sofa and I'm dying to see whether he feels the same. Yeah.
If he's drawn to the same area.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then my mum sits on my daughter's bed. She sits on there quite often. Rhiannon sees her quite a lot of the time. And
like, does she feel it sink as well as?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then last week I was poorly, so I was in bed. Because that's what I do when I'm poorly, I just milk it, you know. and I was on my own, and then every now and again I'd look out to the door, and I could see someone back on the landing by the stairs. And we've just been recently emptying my loft, and it's all stuff of my dad's.
Yeah.
My dad's been dead 18 years, and we're still trying to clear it. All is because he used to build car engines up there, and he'd have a hoist and pull them all up. And that's what we're doing at the minute, emptying it so we can have it all, needs insulating and stuff. And I think he's saying you need to quickly get that done, because it's freezing, it is cold in the house. So we can have it re-insulated. But we've took 70s wallpaper off the eaves of the loft. We've had 2 skips, and we've had about 10 carloads of rubbish going to the tip, because there's a lot of rubbish in, and it's still loads in there now. Yeah. Okay. But I feel my mum and dad in my house all the time.
Yeah, you don't sound like freaked. All right, you said that you you seem very calm and happy with it.
No, I'm made up to there.
I mean, you also sound quite calm in relation to the stuff that's gone on here.
Yeah.
So, is there ever been a point where anything's happened which has made you think, Christ, I don't like that, I need to get out? Nothing at all?
Nothing at all, no.
That's interesting.
No.
You said in your email about friendly ghosts. Yeah. I'll tell you about the friendly ghosts that we've got. Is from what other people have said, like you said, there was someone else who saw them as well. Yeah. Do they get the same impression?
Yeah, everything's friendly.
Really?
Yeah. There's no harm going to happen to anyone.
Oh.
And even the girls, it was just that headmaster, that was the only thing that... But every room we went into, they all said, yeah, we can feel it, and it's a nice presence. It's not a horrible, it's a nice presence. Now, funny enough, I was talking to Rhiannon, telling her that you were coming this morning, and she said, you haven't mentioned anything lately. Now, since we've had that psychic night, I've not seen anything.
Really?
Interesting. I don't know
whether Did they do any sort of like clearing or cleansing or anything like that?
No.
Now, here's a little weird one, and yes, Bekah will be the first one to say I'm suggestible. I am very suggestible.
Like if I get a headache 10 minutes later, Kev's got a headache.
I'm lying on the floor saying this is killing me. But there's 2 things. One, I think you picked up on me doing before. We were in the middle of a story, and I looked down there pretty urgently. Yeah. And I noticed that you noticed. But it was almost as if a little black cat had went past my legs, right? Something similar's just happened over there. And then also in the blinds at the back room. So, we have this joke in the house because Bekah's got black hair. That, you know,
I have black hair.
well, in dark hair, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, like them Chinese or Japanese grudge films where the hair's in front of the head and all that. She does this thing which is dead funny, not really, where
I don't do it intentionally.
She'll peek around and just stay there silently.
I don't do it intentionally. The other day, I was trying to get the cat to come down for a dinner, and you weren't feeling well, so he was asleep on the bed, and she was on the bed with him. So I popped my head round as he was asleep, and I was whispering because I didn't want to wake you up to the cat. Come on, come down for your dinner. And God bless him, he woke up with such a start.
Honestly, I've never been so scared. Nearly had an heart attack.
I've never seen animals. Never ever seen animals. But we always bring our pets in here. So when I was married, I had a little King Charles Spaniel, and from when he was a puppy, I always brought him in. Suzanne looks after dogs for friends and stuff, and she always brought her dogs in too. And this was our office at one point, so it was always lovely and cosy and warm, you know.
No, it's just it's an interesting thing. It's because I would look. Cause the reason I looked down was I assumed.
I seen you this with the chair.
I assumed that this was there and had moved because that's what it looked like. But that was tucked up there. But it's even now it's really freaking me out, that back thing. And even if it was something nice, I'd get freaked out, is the thing. So I'm not saying that it's a nasty sort of
I don't think there's anything nasty in this building, nothing. Because if there was, we wouldn't have so many people coming in and saying, isn't this a lovely place?
You know, I must admit, downstairs in the reception area, you feel... It feels lovely.
Yeah,
it does feel lovely. And the work that you do here as well, if you want to just say a bit about...
Okay, so we're a community learning centre. At present, we're self-sustainable, which is really good, but we are looking for funding. If anyone wants to give us some money, that would be brilliant. We've been here for around 21 years, all in all, but we became a CIC in 2009, and we were funded by the big lottery for 8 years. Then when that funding stopped, we've kept on going, so it's about 6-7 years now we've been going without that funding. And we get little pots from here and there to be able to keep us going. We do lots of room hire, and we have 2 churches on a Sunday, and we've got an Arabic school now. We have lots of space that people can rent.
It seems like there's a lot of community people coming in to learn computer skills.
Computer skills, job search. We have English as a second language. Lots and lots of classes of that from all different levels. I'm trying to think what else. We have craft sessions now. I've just started them up and running, and we get a lot of people from that go to day centres that come along, and we made Halloween cards yesterday. We've done an itinerary of what they want to make, because they love coming, and it's something for them to do every week, isn't it? Rather than sitting in the day centre doing nothing. So I think there was 6 of us yesterday. And
that's good.
My daughter and her partner came and helped as well. So.
Well, if you get a link, I'm sure you've got one. You might have one already, because we can throw it into the show notes of this episode.
I've got the link
for people to donate, and obviously we're going to throw you a little something as well for the.
There is a little donate button on there.
Oh, is that? Well, there you go.
Yes.
So we'll make sure that's linked on the episode as well.
Yeah.
So thanks then, Deb. I think me and Bekah are going to hang around here for a bit, if that's okay.
Whatever you want, have a little walk around. If you want to go up the stairs. Yeah. Even that's not our building. You can still have a walk around because there's another floor up there as well.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind you walking around, and the tenants, if they just say Debbie said it was fine.
Okay. Fair enough.
Obviously, don't go in the rooms, but you can go on the corridors because we've got a roof as well, a mezzanine roof on the other side.
Okay.
I've been on the roof.
It's a bit untidy, isn't it? But it's still. That was our sunbathing roof until all the rubbish went on there from other tenants. But I'm not clearing it up. But yeah,
don't blame me. Yeah,
no, it's a lovely place, and it's a lovely place to come and learn as well. I've got lots of there's only 2 staff, but I've got lots of volunteers, and the volunteers are absolutely brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. But yeah, everyone's welcome as well. No postcode restrictions or anything. We've got a money saving course starting next Wednesday. We're trying to encourage people to go online and save money with this, that and the other, and we're going to go on the Martin Lewis website and see what he can help us with. And we're working with Greenbank College, and we're also working with Onward, which is a housing association as well, and they fund us to do some courses. We had a cookery course yesterday, and we had a crafts course on Wednesday.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
You do it all, don't you?
Yeah, it sounds like you do some really important work, to be honest.
We do.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything to do with the community is important, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is a passion of mine. It's not like a job. I
Yeah.
love getting paid at the end of the month. Don't get me wrong. But it's my passion.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't get paid, I'd still work here.
Yeah, well, that's the ideal, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can do something you love and get paid whilst you're doing it, it's not a
Yeah.
job, is it?
Yeah.
So
No.
that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much then,
Yeah,
Deb.
thank you so much for your
We'll let you crack on with your busy
Okay.
day,
And you just walk around whenever you want.
and we'll just walk around being weirdos for a bit.
Cheers.
I'll took the slip off the door so you can get in and out.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deb. Cheers. So there you go.
So there you go.
So Debbie's a lovely woman, isn't she?
Told you she was brilliant.
She was. She was brilliant. And we'll have to make sure as well that we slip her the cash
Yes.
that we said we would for allowing us to go around the place.
Room hire and a valuable time.
Yeah. In fact, I don't have cash on me, do you?
Oh,
we'll get her bank details and make sure it goes through.
yeah, I'm sure they'll take payment by card.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. So now we are left alone in the loft. I'll be honest about what I said earlier. That place down there does give me the freaks.
Right, let me go and see it. I didn't pick up on anything here. Come with me. Let's get a proper look.
It did, and I can see what I mean. I've just done it myself, stepping over between these three.
Yeah, like between the arches.
Between the arches,
so
yeah.
basically, you're in like a typical. Well, it's bigger than a typical loft, isn't it? But it's you've got like the pointed, so it's like triangular
Yeah,
roof.
and it's got an apex roof.
And
It
comes right
attic.
along, and it's basically split off into 3 different sections. So the bits of the walls will be old that are coming out, but then they've got like a new kind of wooden arches in between them. Okay, so at the very end, in fact, it's 4 separate sections.
4, and this
at the
end
end.
one that we're about to go into.
See, that's a lot darker in there, isn't it?
This is darker in here, but this is the room which I'm not feeling great about.
Yeah.
I really am not feeling great about.
yeah, in the
I'm going to
end
snap
one-
some photos in here too.
Just be careful you don't capture.
I won't capture anything
confidential.
confidential, of course I won't know. I'll make sure that I don't, and if I do, I'll edit it out. But there's parts like down here in the eaves. Like that's just not nice. You know, I mean, I appreciate Debbie saying what she said about, it's a very nice and light place.
Yeah.
But also we know that even if something was nice and light, I'd still find it freaky.
Well, yeah, that's it. Because how she's saying about like there's no way you'd see a monk and feel alright about
Well,
it.
exactly, yeah.
Like,
Well, that's what I mean.
she's,
That's a
obviously
very
picking
good
up
example.
That it's like a safe presence, and she's quite happy, and like people who are seeing them are saying to her, this person's looking out for you. They've got you back. It's like a nice kind of comfort. I think Debbie's finding it comforting, isn't she?
Yeah,
whereas you wouldn't. It
but
could
that's an excellent example. What you just said there is that Debbie's telling the stories about seeing a monk on 2 occasions, like one following one guy, one swinging past on a chair, and then also in the same breath saying, "I think it's a nice, warm, safe place."
safe, yeah.
And I'm sure that could be the case. That you could see a monk and it be a nice
it's
monk.
not. I've said this to you. Not all.
But if I seen a
There's
monk,
malevolence, haven't
so I'm just taking a photograph in with flash on, so we may get some orbs about. But yeah, if I need to take a photo of this place because it doesn't give me the nicest of things. But I also don't want to. I'll make sure anything's blurred out. If I see a name or anything, I'll make sure it's blurred out. So what about yourself? What do you feel? Do you feel nothing? But is this just like being in a normal building for you?
Yeah, it just feels very normal to me. It is an interesting thing for me when I've got that kind of like distance, because obviously I am a skeptic, I'm not a believer, and I don't believe that there's ghosts here. But I have a lot of time for Debbie.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for both her, the other centre manager, and what they do here. I think it's brilliant. And as I said to you on the way, they're like very calm, very like organised. They know what they're doing. They're brilliant at the jobs. They do such a huge amount of good work here. Yeah. And, they take everything in the stride. Nothing phases them. And they're just like, so, I have a lot of time for them. So when Debbie's saying something like this,
about monks and stuff going past,
or like that she's actually seen, like, she's not saying, oh, there was this, that, the other. She's actually saying, no, I've seen this woman, I've seen this woman plenty of times, this Edwardian woman with a cap.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, I'm a bit torn on it, because obviously I don't believe in that, but at the same time,
at the same time,
I've got a lot of time for what Debbie says, so.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, because I get your point of view on it as well, the thing is, I think my brain, without sounding like a big tit, I do have a very imaginative brain, right? Yeah. And therefore, like I find it very easy in my head to make up the wrong word, but you know, to imagine what somewhere was like prior and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm taking photos around here now and just videos at general, which if they're of any use, I'll put up.
You want to get one of that Mortuary Chapel sign as well?
Yes, I do,
it's heavily painted over, so it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if actually we'll be able to get it on photo, because it's more the depth, isn't it, that you can make out rather than like a colour or something. But we'll take a picture and see if we can get it.
Yeah.
And also the stable area.
And the stable area with the hooks and the walls. Yeah, we can get those photos. Right, so let's go and have a little walk before we set off. But yeah, it's a fascinating place. I am going to try and...
Oh, there's a poem here written on a piece of paper stuck to the wall. She walks in beauty like the night.
Of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright, meet in her eyes and her eyes.
Meet in her aspects and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light, which heaven to gaudy day denies.
Yeah, it's not scary in here at all.
No, it's a famous poem that she walks in beauty like the night. You'll have heard that line.
Will I?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Very famous, yeah. I can't remember what it was now. It might be Wordsworth.
So there is another floor. We're not going to any of the rooms. I think it's an addition, this one. An additional floor.
Is the bit that's not theirs, as she said, isn't it?
Yeah, so if it's not their property, we won't loiter. But we will go back down into the stable rooms, like Bekah says, just as a goodbye. And the room where there was a buzz, because we discussed where we'd record initially, because Bekah said there was a buzz coming from one of the main mortuary rooms.
Yeah.
And there was. So that's what we'll have a look now. I'll take a photo of this sign, which is the...
If you can get it.
I don't know whether I'll get it, or whether you'd see it right. Let me see. I'm trying to take basically trying to take a photo of the sign where it says Mortuary Chapel, and it's been painted over. But it's a really difficult thing to try and get. Hopefully it'll be fine. We must look weird to anyone who's walking past them, guys. Just come out of the toilet. Which once was the Mortuary Chapel. I'm going to go into the gents with this recorder. I know that's probably a bit weird to do.
It is a bit weird. Get a as well. I'm actually just going to use the bathroom.
Oh, you're going to use the bathroom? All right then, so you just go to the bathroom. Well, Bekah, just remember you're going to the toilet in a former mortuary chapel. So, I'm now in the room. I'll take a photo just of the wall with the hook on. So basically, there are these, it's like an old brick wall. And Debbie was saying before we started recording, that the room that I'm in now, they think was stables, because they kept the hooks on the walls, which would have been where they tethered the animals when they were bringing the bodies in. And they've kept that wall bare brick, and they've kept the hooks within the wall, or the hoops within the wall, not the hooks, just like for the aesthetics, really. But it's a really interesting place. It really is. So we think, I'll go in the room. There's training room 2 is here now. I'll go in that room, because this is the room you can hear the fuzz or the buzz, and it might give a bit of background noise. But this room I felt the most weirder in before, and we think it's an office that was used for the mortuary, or where the bodies were actually piled up. So outside was the stables, and inside here was where they would unpack the bodies, ready for, well, whatever you do in a mortuary. What do you do in a mortuary? Mort. That's what you do. You do a bit of morting. Bit of mortis and treble.
So this big one here is room 1.
So this is room 1.
So this is the one she was saying about the monk.
Oh, so this is the room where the monk was seen?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
so
good.
Have you been back into room 2?
I've just been into room 2, yeah. And
Can you
said
show
that
me about the fan?
The which, sorry?
The fan.
I did see what you mean about the fan, yeah. I do think that, that's a very freaky room, given that I stand with what Debbie was saying, that she thinks that that's where the bodies were.
Yeah.
Unloaded.
The stables, yeah, that's where they would have come.
Because if this was the stables, then that would have been where the bodies were.
I presume you've got a picture of those hooks and all.
Yeah, got a picture of everything. I'm taking as many pictures as I can for my benefit. None of this is going to go, unless like I capture something, which probably won't. Did you see anything in the toilet?
No.
The mortuary chapel?
No.
I'm going to go in. Am I? Is it weird? It is weird, but I'm going to go in. Because it's a mortuary chapel. I mean, it's definitely not right to be taking photos in a mortuary chapel. Or in the toilet. So, I may need to edit that part because someone was in the toilet. So I might need to edit that part out. Imagine using the bathroom like a bathroom when we're trying to film a Halloween special. So, I think that's us, really. It'd be great to do an overnight here. You know, my only reticence in doing an overnight here is...
You'd be scared.
Well, I'd be terrified. I wouldn't just be scared. But it's also how Debbie comes across about the place. You know, because I would be looking at this from a terrified angle. And I wouldn't want to do that to someone. You know, if she...
What do you mean? You're not going to make her scared.
No, I don't. I know. But, you know, it's like if I say, isn't my cat lovely? And somebody then goes, no, it's an absolute monster. And you don't want to go near it.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So.
Yeah, that you would be scared. She's just a very master of facts as well, isn't she? She's like, oh yeah, there's this woman who's like just walks around. Like just
yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. Like it's
very
like it's the most normal thing in the world.
Yeah.
There was a bang from behind us then. It does say emergency exit only. Oh, the lights just come on in there. Did you see the lights just come on in there though?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just gone off again. Just gone back on again. Are they? Right, we're going to video that then. But it might just be automatic. So, this here be the lights. Not the lights. It's hard to focus. There you go. Light's just gone off. So there you go. There's nothing in there. I mean, I'm saying this like you can see the screen, so I'm going to have to heavily edit this last bit. Just to see if the lights go back on. So, if there's a spirit here, turn the light on.
Please.
Please.
They're all nice.
They're all nice and need to be mannersful. Mannersful is not a word. Oh, there you go. There you go.
See, manners work.
Manners work.
Thank you.
Who knew? Thank you for that. Oh, and back off. Okay.
You're already getting a bit freaked, aren't you?
I am getting a bit freaked because that's a locked door. But, okay. So there you go. Lights going on and off. And the door was locked. So, I think our time here is done. It is still a functioning centre, so we don't want to outstay our welcome.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think we'll call it a day there for the We Need to Talk About Ghosts Halloween special.
So thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you liked it. A little bit different than our usual. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. We'll be, for our Patreons, we'll have discussed this in more detail yesterday on Sunday's episode. But not give too much away.
Okay.
Or maybe we will. I don't know.
Okay.
But, tatty bye.
Bye, guys.